that sucked. That sucked a lot. Wow, is about all I have to say. But first things first, thank you guys for joining us here on the Clemson Voice of College Football Postgame Live, following Clemson's 21-24 loss at Georgia Tech. A lot to dig into. This is not going to be the funnest of shows. This is not going to be the most pretty of shows. We're going to have some uncomfortable conversations. It's going to be, we're going to try to keep it short and sweet, but we're going to try to hit on it as much about this game as possible. And then, of course, I will certainly have more to say about it on Tuesday for the All In show. But man, thank you guys for joining us first and foremost. Clemson fans are obviously going to be here, and obviously other fans are going to be here. We welcome all of you guys. So whether you're here to commiserate with us and join in our misery or clown us, we greatly appreciate you guys watching. And please, if you haven't already, hit that like button because it does help us here on the Clemson Voice of College Football YouTube channel. But I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to bring on my co-host live from the softball fields, Tiger Paul Craven. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm not good when it comes to the Clemson side of things. I'm very good when it comes to the softball side of things. So a little bit of a weird day for me. I obviously didn't get to watch the game as closely as I usually watch Clemson games, but I caught majority of the game. I think I turned it on when it was 3-0 Georgia Tech in the first quarter, and my stomach sank as soon as I turned it on. And I think I texted you immediately, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I think that was my text message to you. But, I watched the rest of the game from then on, and, it's just – what do you say about this team other than we got fooled, we got bamboozled, we got lied to, we got led astray? Whatever phrase you want to use, this team is nowhere near what they were sold to be in the offseason by the coaches, by the media, by anybody, including us. We thought they were going to be a playoff team that could potentially make a deep playoff run and possibly a national championship run, and they couldn't be any further from that right now. The offense, it hasn't figured things out. It doesn't look like they're going to figure things out anytime soon. The defense, they play okay. They're not world beaters, but, they play well enough for you to win games if the offense could figure it out, but they can't. And I don't really think they will at this point. This season's starting to shape up to be one of the most disappointing seasons when you factor in the preseason hype that Clemson came into the season with. So, I don't know. It just sucks. It sucks watching this team. It's demoralizing. It's not fun. It's not fun watching this team because the amount of talent that they have, and they just can't get out of their own way. Multiple turnovers today, and it's just unacceptable, dude. It really is. And frankly, I'm pissed. Like, it pisses me off watching this team at this point. So that's where I'm at.
I feel you, and I think many Clemson fans share in your frustration. I mean, this is a team that, in the preseason we had, crowned, as, one of the preseason favorites to potentially, win a national championship. I mean, of course, we talked about it during the offseason, how much the love that Clemson was getting in the media and how much, fanfare there was around this team that it did make us a little bit uncomfortable. But, I always thought that this, we were going to see a good team, hit the field this year. I just didn't know how good they would be. And even that turned out to be false because this is not a good team right now. Just point blank, period. There's a lot to dig into about what that first half was and wasn't, and, where this team went wrong, where this team missed opportunities. But, we can dig into all of that. But the reality is this is just the third game of what this team has been this season. Just this is what they are. This is their identity right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
a miserable offensive line at times, a quarterback that's erratic and nothing like the form that he was the previous year. The inconsistent play calling, inability to get their best players the football, inability to run the football. I mean, at least consistently, and almost unwilling to try to run the football. It's mind-boggling, and now you're at the point where we have to ask ourselves, big picture wise, what program wise, where is this team? Where is this program? What can we believe in terms of is this team and is this program heading in the right direction? Because I mean, you talk about it, how much you spent on this roster, how much that you had coming back from the previous season. You even went into the transfer portal to get guys, and this was all building up based off of all of Clemson's actions, based off of Dabo Swinney's actions. This said that this was supposed to be the year. This was what they had been building up towards. And so you throw all of that out the window. At this point, barring them a miracle of them winning out, this is a waste of a season. This is a waste of a roster. This is a waste of a defensive line. This is a waste of all of this, the NFL talent that you supposedly have on this team. And now, looking into next season and beyond, it's like, is this team going to be made up, of the quality of roster necessary to continue to be, even ACC contenders? Because, you look at this, you look down the pipe. I mean, you still got to play Florida State, who looks much improved. You still got to play SMU. You still got to play, of course, your rival at the end of the season. I don't have confidence to win any of those football games right now.
No.
So that's 3 losses right there. I mean, if you drop all 3, so are you looking at 7-5 this season, which would be the worst record that Clemson has had since Dabo's second full season? Like, I have all of these thoughts in my head, and none of them are positive. Beyond this, not even just this season, but beyond this season. So I guess my question is do we have to reset our expectations? Do we have to reset our understanding of what this program should be? Is it time to just come to the terms with the fact that this program is just never going to be what it once was, at least the way things are being run right now?
Yeah, it certainly feels that way in some ways, Jordan, and honestly, I'm kind of torn. Part of me says, no, we don't reset our expectations. We scream and yell, and we get as loud as we possibly can and demand that changes be made and that Clemson gets it turned in the right direction. Because, after the 2020 season, the last time we went to the national championship and lost to LSU, we have been on a decline as a program. And we weren't bad. We haven't been bad, right? But it's been a significant regression from what we were in the 14 playoff era, right? Everybody understands that. It almost feels like this season we could be taking another step back from the drop that we have already had as a program. And that's what scares me. And as far as, the expectations and things like that, with the amount of resources that the University of Clemson puts into football and how serious they are about it and how much money they're willing to spend on rosters and coaches and facilities and you name it. No, the standard should not change. But people's feet need to be held to the fire because Clemson they're a mess right now. They're a mess. And they are so much more talented this year, experienced veteran talent this year, than they will be next year. So what's next year going to look like? Because you're right, Jordan, 7-5 at this point seems like a reality that could happen this season. So where does that leave us next year when we have far less veterans on the team and experienced talent on the team? Not that we won't be talented, because Clemson recruits pretty well, but it will be inexperienced talent. It will be new players out there, right? And if you can't get it done with the dudes that you just spent a fortune on, we're just supposed to expect that you're going to get it done with the young dudes that are sitting behind them right now? I don't think so. I don't think so. This program feels like it is tumbling down a mountain right now. And I don't have all the answers, but I'm also not paid $12 million a year to have those answers or to fix that. But there's got to be some serious changes within Clemson at this point, because whatever they're doing, and I'm sure they think they're doing all the right things, but it ain't working. Plain and simple, it's not working. So you got to change something. And what exactly those changes are, I'm sure we'll get into them more as the season goes on and a little bit in this video. But it's really Dabo's job, and his feet need to be held to the fire. He is paid a king's ransom to run this football program and to be at or near the top of college football. That's what Clemson fans want, and that's clearly what the administration wants, because they invest in it heavily. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse for this coaching staff. There's no excuse for these players on this team right now. You are far more talented than Georgia Tech. No disrespect to Georgia Tech whatsoever, but Clemson is far more talented than Georgia Tech. Their defensive line should have annihilated them, but they didn't. Our offensive line should have been able to run the ball at ease against them, but they weren't, right? So there are no excuses. Clemson's got the money. They got the buy-in from the administration. They have the buy-in and one of the most rabid fan bases in college football that want to win and want to support their team. And the coaches and the players just aren't getting it done. That's the reality right now. And it's on Dabo Swinney. It's on Dabo Swinney. He's got to fix it. That's what he's paid to do. And he just ain't getting it done right now.
Yeah, and that's the question we have to ask ourselves is, we've been saying that Dabo has to fix this. Dabo has to fix this. Dabo has to fix this. But will he actually fix it?
Yeah.
And
it's not,
yeah, and there's and that's where you get into the conversations that we never really thought we would have. Listen, I'm not on a fire Dabo Swinney. That's not where I am. I don't see any way that Clemson does that and things get better. Unless they know they could go get somebody, just you could make a slam dunk hire. I don't feel like you're doing yourself any favors by firing Dabo Swinney. But
no.
The conversation, like I'm not gonna for the fans that are there, I'm gonna stop arguing with it. I'm not gonna say anything, because at this point this is the climate within the fan base. This is the atmosphere that Dabo Swinney has created. This is the atmosphere. This is the sentiment that Dabo Swinney has created. So if for fans that are like, okay, I'm ready to move on, I'm not going to argue with you. Yep. And I used to defend that to the death. I mean, a couple of years ago when things weren't going well, 2023, I was still, when Clemson was 4-4, I wasn't on the fire Dabo train, and I vehemently fought against people who said that he should be fired. I still don't think Clemson should fire Dabo Swinney, but for those that do, I'm not going to argue with you. I think it's a valid opinion to have at this point. And so, now the question is, Dabo is, by all means, I think he understands. I haven't had a chance to watch his press conference yet, but according to John Sarian, who just joined the channel as a channel member, by the way, thank you so much for
joining. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you. So thank you. Those of you that are interested in getting more perks on the channel, feel free to consider joining us, hitting the join button, and you can review the tiers on the join button. I think you have to go into the description and hit the join button, and it'll show you all the different tiers and the perks that come with it. We did not do a exclusive live stream for this game because, of course, TPC has had his softball game with it for his daughter today. But we do plan to do more of those and other exclusive content, so consider joining us. But John mentioned in the chat earlier, if I can find his comment, that Dabo said that it's not working. He admitted that it's not working and says it's all on him. And Dabo has never been one to shirk responsibility.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you can only do that so many times before it's like, okay, well, when are you going to fix things? Because taking responsibility is only the first step when you're trying to address a problem. And the second step is actually taking action and taking the correct action first and foremost. And we've been begging, and every time we think that the correct action has been taken, we end up proven wrong again. And so I don't know. I can't trust anything that he says. And I can't trust anything coming out of the program at this point. And so, like, if another year comes around like this, where Clemson, has a lot, that they feel good, and this team has, a lot of returning talent or whatever, like, how am I supposed to believe that, like, that's going to realize itself on the field? Because it hasn't.
I think you can't. Like, at this point, you can't believe anything the coaching staff says anymore when it comes to preseason hype or hype going into a game or anything. It can't be trusted anymore. Clemson is at a point right now as a program and as a team. You have to prove it on the field. You have to show people before they're ever going to even remotely buy into anything you're trying to say. And that's just kind of where it is. But
yeah, I mean, that's where we are. I know you've got to go.
Yeah, so I'll just leave the people with a couple of things. I appreciate all you guys being in here. Hang out here with Jordan, chop it up with him. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 6,000 subscribers, so help us out with that. I got to go catch my daughter's softball game, but my heart is hurting with you guys. This sucks. I'm sick and tired of this being our reality as Clemson football. And I think we will continue, Jordan, me and you, to have some of these deeper, more difficult conversations on the All In Show this Tuesday. So you guys stay tuned for that. I got plenty more to say. But that's it for me, Jordan. I hope you have a great rest of the show, buddy. I'll hit you up after it's over. And, yeah, go Tigers.
All right, later, man. Best of luck.
Thank you.
There you go, Tiger Paw Craven. Man. Well, I'm not going to waste too much time. I do want to hear what you guys have to say. And the super chat feature is available if you want to make sure that your comment is read. But I'm going to kind of just take a few comments. Give your thoughts. Tell me what you thought about the game. I don't even really feel like breaking it down, quarter by quarter, half by half, because, at this point, it feels like we're skirting around the real conversations that need to be had. I mean, if you want me to do it real quick, I mean, in terms of performances, there's not many positive performances. I'll say the run defense overall, I thought they gave themselves a chance. I feared that Clemson wouldn't be able to stop the run at all, and I think they did a good job of that through three quarters, really. They limited Jamal Haynes and kept him out of the football game largely. it was really Haynes King was that entire run game. And, I think, if this were last season, I could see Georgia Tech putting up 200 plus rushing yards and looking like it was against Louisville or Texas. So, positive there. Offensively, Bryant Wesco was really good, except for the third down drop, and I think that was one of the most critical plays in that football game. That sucks. There's not really anything to say about that. You got to make that catch. It was a good read by Cade, good throw. It was on time. You got to pull that in, and instead you go. That was on third down. You end up punting, and Georgia Tech goes down the field and scores the touchdown to take the lead, 21-14, instead of continuing your drive and potentially putting up points of your own and changing how that game script looks. So thought Bryant Wesco was very good. Adam Randall continues to be really good when he gets the opportunity to have the football. I think he saved this game from getting out of hand multiple times. Of course, the 3rd and 22 was the biggest play of the game and kept Clemson in it. I mean, that was a give up run, and he just made a play. So hats off to him. On the K. Klubnik red zone interception, he was the one that made the tackle. Of course, and Clemson ended up getting the stop on 4th down on that interception. So Adam Randall saved this game 2 times, and of course had a rushing touchdown in the red zone of his own. So I guess those would be my 2 MVPs of this game: Bryant Wesco and Adam Randall, but on offense. But beyond that, don't really have much positive to say about this offense. It's just not good. It's not good. All right, let me see what you guys are talking about. We did get our first super chat from Big John. He says, "Pride cometh before the fall. Guess where we are? Worst team effort in 20 plus years." I mean, collectively through 3 games, I mean, this is pretty pathetic considering the players that you have on this roster. It really is. I mean, to kind of twist the knife further for those of you that haven't been paying attention, Troy today got beat by 3 scores by Memphis. So yeah, I think the final score was like 28-7. So if that tells you anything, I know the transitive property isn't really a thing in college football, but I mean, when you're talking about a G5 team that was up 16-0 on you, I think that's worth noting. That I mean, it kind of just shows this team is just flat out just not doing what they need to be doing. I mean, LSU was good. I don't think Troy was that good, and they kind of showed that today. And Georgia Tech, I think, is good. But the things that we're talking about in this football game aren't even about guys just flat out getting beat. I mean, we're talking about guys just flat out not making routine plays, and the coaches not having this team prepared to play 2 halves of football. Like, you shouldn't need to go down 13-0 before you wake up. It's 2 weeks in a row, double-digit 2-score deficits before the offense wakes up and the defense is constantly being put in bad situations. I mean, K. Klubnik, that first fumble, I mean, outside arm. I don't know why you have the ball in your right hand when you're running to the left side, and you just, it's easy. I mean, it's every single defensive coach always coaches their defense, to put your helmet on the ball if the ball carrier is not going to protect it and keep keep the ball in his outside arm. I mean, that's just textbook. I mean, and he had plenty of time to move the ball over to his left hand. He just kept it. That can't happen. And then, of course, I already mentioned the red zone interception, but that was brutal. I mean, it was the wrong read to begin with. I mean, yeah, he had one-on-one coverage with TJ Moore, but I mean, the DB kind of had him pretty pretty covered, and then you throw it right into the defensive back, or I don't even know if it was a defensive back. I can't remember. It might have been a linebacker, but he was just sitting on it. He dropped back and just not a good pull on that RPO. So I mean, just the decision making, in key moments, especially early in this game, that was kind of the difference. And I can't get too upset with the defense. They certainly needed to play better when when those things, when it was crunch time and on the final couple of drives. But when you're constantly being put in bad situations, I mean, I can't really fault them too much. But that's the reality. All right, let me see what else you guys are talking about. John Sarian, our newest channel member, and of course our resident and one of the OGs in terms of our viewership, and of course one of our moderators. He says, if you want something to get angry about, from 2012 to 2020, Dabo lost 2 games to unranked teams. 5 seasons since, lost 8 per Chapel Fowler. I mean, that tells you everything right there. I mean, there's not really much, to spin from that. It tells you everything. And keep in mind, that says 2012 to 2020. So like, this isn't even like when Clemson went on the playoff runs. I mean, this is even prior to that. You're worse than the 2011, 12, 13, like, Taj Boyd teams. I mean, you're slightly better than the typical Tommy Bowden team at this point. And honestly, I don't even know if this team this year is even that at this point. So, I mean, if that tells you everything, I mean, this team just can't win those games anymore. I mean, until proven otherwise. They have proven to me and proven to us time and time again that this team is just not going to be able to make those wins happen, because they don't have enough good play. Either they don't have enough good players, they don't have enough good coaching. Really a combination of both, and that's where you are. Justin Thomas says Adam Randall and Sammy Brown are the only ones who played like dog. Yeah, I thought Sammy Brown had a really good game. Will Helt had some really nice moments, but then there were a couple of moments where he kind of he got out of his rush lanes and allowed Haynes King to scramble on some key conversions. But I thought he had a nice game overall and made some impact plays. Thought the interior of the interior played pretty well, I think, largely on the defensive line. I mean, they clearly didn't have much in terms of running between the between the tackles. Like it wasn't like a great rushing performance, especially in their traditional run game. Of course, but that's the thing. You saw Georgia Tech find creative ways to run the football, and that's that was kind of the difference. And they were willing to grind out those tough drives and those 10, 11, 12, 13 play drives to go and score points. And to Clemson's credit, they did that in the second half, but it took them too long to figure out how to do it. Georgia Tech sitting in they're sitting in a shell for large parts of this game. They're giving you 5-man boxes, and you're still hesitant to run the football and still unable to get consistent push in the run game. And that's just that tells you everything right there. I mean, if the defense doesn't have to respect and put numbers in the box, like as an offense, like there's not really much you can do. I mean, you just flat out have to be able to run the football when teams are playing you like that. And it took forever for them to figure out how to do it. And that's that's where this game was lost. And you also missed a field goal, so that wasn't great either. So, and of course, when you lose by a field goal, you look back on those too. Everything about this team that we thought would be strengths have turned out to be either weaknesses or not nearly as good as we thought they'd be. quarterback has honestly been Kate Klubnik has been a liability at times. Just his inability to see the field, trust what he's seeing, and deliver the ball accurately. I mean, it's been pretty just amazing to see the regression. And it's kind of mind-boggling because even when there are good play calls and even when there are plays to be had, he's not seeing them or he's not executing them. It really is just shocking. So the hard take says it's been Dabo's pride for years now. I can't argue with you there. M brand B. This sucks, and I just want answers, but it's the same thing for the last 5 years. Yeah. I mean, we keep you keep asking for answers, you keep asking for changes, and it's not, none of it's good enough. It's still you're still getting the same results. Tiger Tom says good 13-yard rush by Tyler Brown. Yeah, I mean, I thought they did some good things in terms of getting Tyler Brown the football on those jet sweeps. It seemed like they had something going there. They consistently got at least a couple. They got a couple of those for an 11, 12-yard gains and first downs. I mean, so yeah, great job there actually handing it off and not just using the motion as window dressing, because you have to make the defense respect that you'll actually give them the football. So yeah, I mean, I think they were better today in terms of getting the run game going than yesterday. Not yesterday, last week, but that's not saying much at this point. And still, you're not giving Adam Randall enough opportunities, and that's just the reality. Let's see. Isaac Smith says, I wouldn't even be mad if Antonio Williams, Woods, Parker, Terrell sit out rest of the year. Well, I mean, I'd probably be mad, especially when you're considering how much you're paying them. I mean, I wouldn't want them to sit out the rest of the year. There's no benefit. This isn't like the NFL where there's a benefit to sitting guys or guys not playing. There's all of especially all of those players, they're all going to be gone. They're all going to the NFL. You better play with how much Clemson has invested in you financially. I mean, 1-2 start doesn't change that. And speaking of TJ Parker, I mean, he's been non-existent. So I mean, your counterpart has been outplaying you all season. Yeah, so I don't know. Just like I said, the things that we thought would be strengths for this team have either been flat out weaknesses or not nearly as good as they have shown in the past or they need to be. So, I mean, that tells you everything. That's how you that's how you start out 1-2. Yeah, we are not going to have those conversations. I'm going to put you in timeout. That is not what we do here. Anyway, let's see. Hard Take says, what I don't understand is why a guy like Sheldon Lewis played a lot 2 years ago, had a massive pick six and all over the field, and now we got a slower white dude and third string players at best in the past. I mean, Sheldon Lewis played a decent bit. I mean, I haven't looked at the snap count, but I mean, your DBs got picked on a little bit in the passing game in general. They didn't have their best game, and asking them to tackle was that was rough. I mean, they gave up some tough plays. I mean, Ashton Hampton, The big play that the big pass play early. I want to say that was the first quarter, or at least or early second quarter. I mean, you're in man coverage on third down. Why are you looking in the backfield? It's third and long. Why are you looking in the backfield? Why are you looking at the quarterback? You're in man coverage. If he takes off and runs, when you're in man coverage, your responsibility is your man. I'm not going to get upset if you don't go make the play on the quarterback because you're defending Eric Rivers. I'm not like that's not your responsibility. Why are you staring in the backfield? I don't know. I shouldn't be getting upset too much with the defense, but at the end of the day, some of your best players are just not playing up to snuff. That's the reality. And so you couple that with your offense just flat out not giving you anything. I mean, this is how you get 1 and 2. This is how you're 1 and 2. Els King says Cade's still making freshman mistakes. Yeah, he's reverted back to the 2023 version of himself in a lot of respects. Michael Forster says, looking at it in retrospect, this team is bad, just bad. Cade last year is running for touchdowns. Now he just goes down, no fight. Defense, Wade Woodez has forgot how to tackle. Where is Parker? Yeah, I mean, I don't think Wade Woodez has been as bad as maybe some of the fans think. I mean, he's missed a couple of tackles, and I think it's kind of the narrative has been kind of just he's been playing bad all season. I would disagree on Woodez, but TJ Parker flat out is just he's not making an impact in the game. He's just not making an impact. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I think the interior. I think Peter Woods. Yeah, Peter Woods isn't out there getting sacks, but I think he's been really good. I mean, and he's been mostly what we thought he was. I mean, DeMonte Capehart it was nice to see DeMonte Capehart play some more snaps and make some. He had some some multiple tackles for loss tonight, or I'm saying today. It was good to see him, but just this defense is. We knew it was going to take some time. I mean, considering how bad they were last season. I mean, but there is no excuse for the offensive performance this year. None. I mean, there's zero. I don't. I'm at a loss, and I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice. Arthur Moss says, Jordan, let's start having the difficult discussion we need to have. We're having it. I mean, all of this is the difficult discussion. I even in big picture wise already talked about the head coach. I mean it falls on him. Stephen Marcus says, I called the game 24-17 Georgia Tech. It went exactly how I thought. Yeah, I mean that. The game scripts, I expected this game to be in the range it was. I think I picked a 23-20 Clemson win. So obviously missed the mark there. But I had no confidence that Clemson was going to win this game comfortably. I knew this was going to be a dogfight. Ended up being a dogfight, and that's what happened. And you look back on the plays that I mentioned, the pick six, not the pick six, it could have been a pick six, but the red zone interception, the early Cade Klubnik fumble, the Bryant Wesco drop on third down, obviously Nolan Hooser missing a field goal. I mean, those are things those are just plays you have to make. It's a different game. I mean, you keep those possessions alive. Those are possessions you lost in a game that you knew would be lower possession because of how Georgia Tech likes to run the football and how they like to, they shortened the game. That's their MO, especially when they play teams that they know that they have more, on paper, more talent than them. I mean, I'm tired of even saying that Clemson has more talent because I mean, did it look like? I mean, did it look like there was a noticeable talent difference between the two teams today? Not to me. I saw two pretty evenly matched teams in a lot of respects. And there at times Georgia Tech looked like the more talented team, especially during the 13-0 stretch of play. So that's what this team is. All right. There's so many comments. It's hard to keep up. I'm gonna try to get some more recent ones. Let's see. See, Monkey says, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Adam Randall's big third down run, we would have been shut out in the first half. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason Clemson stayed in this football game. I mean, it's a completely different ball game. If he doesn't make that run, and like I said, that was a give up run. That was a it's 3rd and 22. It had no chance, and they were like, okay, let's just try to get some of it back and give our punter a chance to flip the field. And Adam Randall goes and makes that play. That was big time, man. And then, like I mentioned on the red zone interception, like that nearly was 6 if Adam Randall doesn't make that shoestring tackle and hustle. I mean, listen, there's some of the fan base for some reason doesn't like Adam Randall and they don't want to see him play. I don't understand what you're seeing. I see a guy that's playing his butt off right now. Me personally, I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating. I mean, and I think that's largely what it is. I mean, it's frustration, but I think Adam Randall's playing his butt off right now, and he was a big, massive reason why you were in the game, and you were able to stay in the game. Paulie says blocking and being blocked, both sides of the ball. It's like we aren't nearly on the level of our opponents. Do we miss a meeting, or does everybody have our playbook? I mean, that's the thing. Offensively, it feels like that because this team is just so predictable. I mean, really, the Brian Kelly after the LSU game, that kind of said it all. I mean, he flat out said, he's like, we knew they wouldn't be able, if they couldn't run the ball, they would be in really predictable. They would be in really predictable play calls, and they teed off on you. And I think Georgia Tech was the same, and even Troy. I mean, there was the same thing. They got them in a lot of 3rd and longs. I mean, today I thought Clemson was better at first down play calling and getting yardage and making it so that you weren't in so many third and longs. I mean, you had actually a pretty good 3rd down percentage at the end of the day. So if there's a positive to build off of there, I mean, I guess, but still you're not able to hit the explosive plays that you need. I mean, the Bryant Wesco 73-yard touchdown notwithstanding, I mean, you really didn't have much else, beyond that. And there were plays to be had. The fake toss, seam route to Josh Sapp. I mean, that was probably going to be 6. I mean, yeah, the pressure got in Cade's face early, but I mean, those are examples of plays that like, hey, even when there's a good play call, you're not able to get it off more often than not. And you can only get so many opportunities to get explosive plays when a team is playing you defensively the way that Georgia Tech was. Hell, they dropped 9 in coverage. I have never seen a team do that to Clemson. Never. Like that is, if that's not disrespectful, like that is about as disrespectful of a play call as I've ever seen. Dropping 9 in coverage because they know that they can rush 2, and you're not going to be able to make a play, and you're not even going to be able to run the ball well enough to convert. I mean, that is I mean, that says it all. I mean that was pretty telling. I haven't seen a team do that to Clemson. I've seen plenty of teams drop 8, and Georgia Tech certainly did that multiple times in this game. But dropping 9, I mean, it makes you chuckle. I've never seen that. Not to Clemson. That's a new one. Kibi says, Nuke told you guys, Dabo doesn't get dogs anymore. Guys are soft, bro. Play calling vanilla, not a fast physical team on offense or defense. Clemson hasn't scared teams since Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence days, Bible college. You're not wrong. I certainly didn't see a tough team out there. I mean, kudos to them for not quitting. I don't think they quit, when they were down. Of course, they didn't quit when they were down 13-0. But, I mean, beyond that, lines of scrimmage, at times you got dominated. So this isn't – I mean, this used to be a team that could win on the line of scrimmage. I mean, they've never been great on the offensive line, but we've seen much better offensive lines than this at Clemson, much better. And especially against teams that they knew they had more talent than, they had no problem winning the lines of scrimmage. I mean, yeah, when they got to some of the bigger games, sure. I mean, they struggled in some games, but now you're not even able to win the line of scrimmage against the middle of the road teams that you play. It's disappointing, and it falls on Dabo first and foremost. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. See, let's get somebody another person I haven't. Desperate Man says, I've been saying for weeks to you guys who keep talking about all the great talent we have that's not being developed, it isn't being developed, but maybe it's not as great as you think. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, at this point, I mean, clearly there is, guys that aren't being developed, but at the same time, I mean, we've seen a lot of these players play much better than they have this season, much better. So it's not like we're talking about guys that we're just kind of projecting will play well. I mean, we've seen these guys play well. We've seen T.J. Parker play well. We've seen Peter Woods play well. We've seen Cade Klubnik play well. We've seen these receivers play well. I mean, we've seen this offensive line last year play much better than they have through 3 games this year. All of these players we're talking about, this is not like guys that we were guessing about. I was like, okay, well, they had this many stars coming out of high school, so hopefully they're good. Like, these are guys that we have seen on the field play at a high level, and they're not. So, the question is why have they regressed? More so than are the players themselves not capable of being that good? Because I really don't think it's a player problem on the whole. There are certain guys that are just flat out, they need to play better, but at the same time, that falls on the guys that are the adults coaching them. Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't think it's a player problem why you're losing to Georgia Tech. Yeah, we could have a conversation like, okay, when you play a team like LSU or Georgia last year or in Texas, okay, we can have the conversations. Is the talent not good enough? And I guess and at that point you could say, yeah, probably the talent is just not good enough. But the talent is better than what we've seen. That's just flat out. We've seen these guys play better. Let's see. Jay says the Randall experiment is twofold for me. Could he be a dog? Yes. Is the staff only giving him the looks because of his loyalty? Possibly. I would like to find out. I mean, I mean, I don't know what Adam Randall has to do. I mean, it's not like he's been bad when he's gotten the football. He's been good. So I mean, I don't. He can be a weapon, and he's proven himself that he can make plays. He's a tough guy to tackle in the open field, and he does have some burst to him. I mean, so I don't know what else he could do for this. I mean, in terms of, you know, that none of the other backs would be able to provide better than him, because at this point we haven't seen it. I mean, I do want to see more Gideon Davidson, and you know, we saw David Eziamume out there, but I don't even think he got a carry. I think Gideon got one, for like 4 yards or something like that. But yeah, I want to see more. I want to see more of them too. But you know, like, what's the point? Like, what have we seen from Adam Randall that says that, you know, he's just not good enough to give the football to and give him opportunities? Because I mean, when he's gotten opportunities, he's made plays. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Artake says no, they never run to daylight. None of the running backs. I mean, if the daylight doesn't exist, I mean, half of the run, half of the runs we've seen, you know, guys are getting in the backfield, you know, at the line or at the line of scrimmage. Like, they're getting met at the line of scrimmage. Like, there's not really daylight to be had on some of these runs, because guys are just flat out getting beat. I mean, yeah, I get that you had. It sucks not having, you know, two of your starters, or two of your guys you consider starters. But Dabo was on record saying he felt like they went 8 deep. They had 8 guys that they felt like could start, and they were on the field. You had Colin Sadler, you had Harris Sewell, Ryan Linthicum. I mean, I don't Walker Parks. You had Blake Miller. Like, that was supposed to be like all 5 of those guys Dabo considered starters. So I mean, you can't even use that as an excuse. Like, they're just not playing well as a unit, and that falls on Matt Luke too. I mean, I haven't mentioned his name yet, but that falls on him. Like, we can talk about how, yeah, okay, yeah, it's not his guys, it's not the guys he recruited, but at the same time, these guys played much better last season, and these guys aren't scrubs in terms of, at least when you consider their blue chip talent. Now, you could say I don't think they're that good, and you know, I guess I wouldn't be able to argue with you that much. But like I said, we've seen those guys play much better, and they're not playing well. So I mean, that falls on their position coach too. Let's see. In case he says, if this was a firm, which it basically is, the board would have fired the CEO because of bad hires and years of not delivering results. I can't disagree with how you. I mean, I can't disagree with that. I mean, especially with how the sport is structured now, where, you know, a CEO is basically in responsibility. His responsibility is, you know, he's responsible for, you know, employees, guys that are, you know, players that are being paid. I mean, certainly look at it that way, especially more now than ever, with how the sport is structured now. JT Brown with the super chat. Thank you so much for the $5. He says, bottom line, we are not playing good football as a team, and that has everything to do with coaching. Yeah, I mean, can't disagree. Can't disagree. And you know, we spent a lot of this offseason praising, you know, how much the coaching staff looks different than it did a few years ago. But you know, just because it's different doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better. And I guess that proved to be the case. That is the one. That is the thing that I'll say. Like, we took a leap on. I mean, we just assumed this coaching staff was better because there were there were a lot of different guys than there had been, and of course the analyst hires that Dabo made, and the support staff, and all of that. We combine all that together, and we're like, oh, this staff's in a really good place. You hired you hired former head coaches, and got from outside the program. You're like, this is what we've been asking Dabo to do. All this and that. And so, we just kind of assumed, like, okay, the product on the field just has to be better, right? There's more. There's more brain trust and guys with outside ideas, and to keep things fresh. And it hasn't proven to be the case so far. It just hasn't. Yeah, so I certainly that's probably the thing we took the biggest leap on in terms. It's like, man, the coaching staff is better, but is it? This team is in almost every facet has gotten worse, except for punting, and the run defense is better than it was last year. But other than that, what's improved about this team? Yeah, it's really just been punting and run defense for them. Generally is a little bit better than it was last year. That's seriously it. So shout out to Jack Smith. I guess Jack Smith is your best player. That's crazy to say. That's crazy to say, but it's not crazy. That's just because it's true. Jay asked, where are the tight ends? Yeah, I mean, we spent all offseason raving about the tight ends, and they don't get the football ever. OPH has proven himself to be a reliable weapon in the passing game. I mean, we saw, we did see Josh Sapp make a really nice play, and then he had another touchdown that he should have brought in, and he just didn't. So, yeah, I mean, but no Christian Beneker. I mean, really, you're going to Ian Shefflin at the goal line, and you have a really good matchup. I guess kudos to Ian Shefflin, he drew the flag, but why not give one of your tight ends that has been playing football for you the opportunity that are also mismatches in the red zone, especially Christian Beneker. Like, I would have given him that opportunity over Ian Shefflin. I mean, that was pretty unserious. It worked out, but that was pretty unserious, and we knew it was coming because they had gone to that formation early in the game, and then Brent Key smartly called a timeout, and because he was like, okay, well, I wasn't expecting that, and he knew something was coming. So, I mean, yeah, this is the problem. We keep banging the drum about the tight ends. It's, man, we need to see more of the tight ends. We need to see more of the tight ends. Then they don't get the opportunity with the football. Especially on like key third downs. You get them matched up. I don't know. I wasn't gonna get mad on this show because really after the game I wasn't even mad because it just. I knew this was a result, and honestly, I woke up. Well, after the events during the week, I had picked Clemson to win on Tuesday, and then the events during the week that I'm not going to discuss here, and the stuff going on with Clemson outside of football. I was like, man, all of this is just shaping up to be a come to Jesus moment in a lot of ways because this is not it. I woke up today and I was like, man, this feels like a loss. Caleb King says Dabo losing that fire, unfortunately. I think Dabo. I don't think Dabo is losing the fire in terms of like his want to win. I think he wants to win the football. And he has spent the last 2 weeks getting after his players, getting after his coaches, but they're not responding. So does it mean that he doesn't have the fire, or that he isn't able to bring that fire out of other people? I think that's really what the problem is. Because I mean, you can scream and yell and do everything you need to do, but at the end of the day, you can't make them go and do what they're supposed to do. Coaches, players alike, that's just the reality. It takes something extra to be able to bring it out of people. And I think Dabo in the past has done that, but at the same time, the goal is to recruit guys that you don't have to do that. And the higher coaches where you don't have to do that, where there just is a clear understanding and expectation of the standard and how they need to play and the intensity that they need to play at. So I mean, I don't know. I think Dabo wants to win. I don't think he's lost the fire. I just don't think he knows what to do. It just doesn't seem like he knows how to get this team to play to their ability, and that's the reality. Jordan Black says, that nice name. Not saying it would have made a difference, but why do you ice your own kicker before the half, and you didn't ice their kicker on a game-winning kick when you had 2 timeouts? Man. Okay, I'll say this about the end of game clock management by Dabo. I actually didn't have a problem with it. Now, I'll say this because first of all, you shouldn't have been in that position, because you had opportunities to score points where they score enough points where a field goal wouldn't win the football game. But at the same time, I understood the method to the madness, in terms of forcing Georgia Tech to use their timeouts, and then getting that stop on third down and getting them to run out. But I don't know. If I were when they got set, I probably would have used one of the timeouts, because at that point, they were set. Sometimes for kickers, not giving them a chance to think about it is better. And so, honestly, it could have helped. What's his name? Aiden Burr, the kicker for Georgia Tech, that he didn't have to have a chance to even really dwell on the kick. He just went out there and did it. Great. It was a great kick. I thought it was gonna hook right, and it stayed true. I mean, he's a really good kicker. So I didn't have a problem with not with how Dabo played the end of that game, except for probably not using that final timeout when it was clear that Georgia Tech had enough time to get set and kick. Now, because that is something they had practiced. Great execution by them. Because they got their guys out quick, and they had enough time they had several seconds to kind of just sit and let them get set, and then make sure everybody was in the correct position before they snapped. Great execution by them. But at that point, when it was clear, I would have called a timeout. But I don't know. That hindsight's 2020. Honestly, that's not my biggest frustration with the game. Honestly, I mean, there were so many points in this game that you should have had more point. You had opportunities to score more points. You had opportunities to at least prolong your drives to where Georgia Tech didn't have as many scoring opportunities at the end of the game. I can't. I don't know. I'm not. There were other things about this game that were more frustrating than the end of game sequence. Yeah, I don't know. Miranda Smith says players are not physical. Yeah, I mean, at different points they weren't physical. That's for sure. And it's not it's not ever you're not seeing every snap played with the same level physicality and intensity. Georgia Tech they were willing to muck this game up. I knew they would be, and I knew that's exactly what this game was going to be. I had the hope that Clemson would make enough plays to win out, and there were plays to be had to win this football game, like I said, and that's the frustrating thing. Let's see. John says, yeah, Ian had that ball too, just couldn't hang on to it when the back swiped it. Yeah, I mean, he had a chance at it. I mean, it was in his hands. So yeah, I mean, that wasn't that's not one of my biggest qualms about this game. But I would have rather given that opportunity to one of the other tight ends that you felt more sure they would be able to make the catch. I don't know that I'm sure they practiced it. It seemed like that's something that they practiced. I mean, I don't think they would have gone to it if they hadn't, given them opportunities during the week. And I don't know, maybe it worked, but I don't know. Just I would have trusted one of my more veteran tight ends, one of my more capable tight ends to make that play than Ian Shefflin. But let's see. Isaac Smith says, "Did Beneker even see a snap today?" I mean, yeah. Honestly, I'm trying to think of plays that I did see him out there. I don't know. I'm not sure. He probably did, but I just didn't see enough of him and didn't see him get opportunities in the passing game. Garnet Lee says Riley is trash. We can tell he's 36. I mean, this is the Garrett Riley that we were sold on is not the Garrett Riley we've gotten through 3 years. That's for sure. I don't know. The offense that he had at TCU, it seems like he left it in TCU with Sonny Dykes. Because this just doesn't. This doesn't. The bare bones of it resembles the TCU offense, but the level of execution, the play calls, none of the rest of it doesn't. Like the base concepts they have the base concepts, and that's really about it. Everything else looks completely different, and whether it's in execution, in play sequencing, and the time that the calls are made, like all of it is just off. Every aspect of it. Ken says this coaching staff is very unserious. Yeah, seems like it. John says, remember when fans were angry that Clemson offense was too finesse oriented? One of those he's fired then too. This feels familiar. Not dirt raid finesse. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And the switch to I mean, when we heard when Garrett Riley was hired and the dirt raid stuff was being talked about, like he talked about wanting to win the line of scrimmage, wanting to run the football, wanting to have guys that could move bodies up front on the offensive line. Like all of those things were what we thought we were getting, but instead you've got the concepts like, hey, we run lots of counter and wide zone and mid zone and things like that, but we don't run. But they don't, you don't get push up front. I mean, at best, it's a stalemate at the line of scrimmage, and then you got guys flat out getting whipped a lot of times, and when you're trying to run the football, and don't even talk about the pass protection from especially at the left tackle position. You got guys that just flat out they can't they can't move their feet enough to win one-on-ones, like just too many times. I mean, it's been rough. So like all of those things combined, you're like, where's the dirt raid? Where is it? I mean, I said, I think last week, I mean, I guess dirt raid meant, throwing the ball in the dirt. because I mean, when Cade throws an incomplete pass or something, I don't know, or your offensive lineman getting put in the dirt. Like maybe that's what he meant, and we just made assumptions. I don't know. You know what they say about making assumptions. So yeah, so I don't know. Let's see. Garnet Lee says TJ Moore is struggling to get open. Yeah, I mean he's out of it right now in the passing game largely. I mean, kudos to him for making that block on Brian Wesco's touchdown. I mean that was a really good play by him, and good on him to stay engaged. Like that's the level of blocking we've wanted at wide receiver, for a long time, and we saw it today. I mean, I honestly didn't have too many issues with the perimeter blocking, so I guess that's another positive. When they ran those jet sweeps with Tyler Brown, thought they got good perimeter blocking. Largely when they ran screens, they got decent yardage. They served their purpose. So, I mean, I don't have much to say about that. But yeah, I mean, TJ's got to find a way to get going. I mean, this is at this point, it's it can't be Bryant Wesco. It can't be the Bryant Wesco show at wide receiver and expect for him to have to bail this offense out every time. And because and then obviously it showed, like, even he'll have a moment where he'll drop a pass. So let's see. Desperate Men says, why isn't Tristan Smith getting those opportunities? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I don't know. They rave about him behind the scenes. They rave about him in the press conferences, and then they don't put him in the game. They don't give him opportunities. I don't know. I don't know. James Thompson says, I'm tired of Dabo's gimmick plays. Well, that's the thing. They're not even running gimmick plays. Like they're running their base stuff, and they can't run it right. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see too many gimmicky plays. I mean, other than the well, I guess unless you're referencing the Ian Shefflin goal line thing, then yeah, that was, I didn't care for that, obviously, but throughout the game, I mean, I didn't see anything that was like bizarre in terms of like in terms of the play calls themselves. They just can't execute them, and oftentimes they're probably called at the wrong times, and some plays aren't called enough. That's the frustration. It's not just the plays that that they're not calling. It's the plays that they call and then they don't call it again, even when they show to be successful. Monkey says, I thought the play call to Chef was a good play call. He's a mismatch. He just has to come down with that ball. And I'll listen to arguments about that because I get it. He's 6'7". He's a big body. And, I would have rather it had been somebody else. Like, I don't hate we saw LSU score a touchdown against Clemson with that same play call, going into a quad formation on the left side and isolating your tight end, your 6'7", ironically 6'7" former basketball star tight end, on a defensive back. Like, I think that was, I mean, it's not a bad play call. It's just it's just to who. I mean, Trey Smith for LSU has been playing football. I mean, Ian Shefflin is in his first year with the team. Like, it's just, I would have rather given that opportunity to somebody else. Like, I don't hate the play call by itself. I just hate the personnel that you used in that play call. I guess is probably the best. That's the best way to put it. Like, I don't hate the play call. I hate the personnel you used for the play call. Let's see. Adam Offer says he left that offense in the playoff before TCU played them. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Snafu Blog says LSU fan, but Clemson follower here. What happened around the program? If I told you everything that happened around the program, we'd be here for another 2 hours. It's a long conversation, but we're going to talk more about it on the All In show on Tuesday. So if you're new to the channel, Snafu, we'd love to have you. Feel free giving us a subscribe and a like too. So because we certainly want to grow our audience. David Wood says, ice the kicker, put Tristan Smith and Ian Shefflin in the middle to block the field goal. I mean, if they worked that, I mean, I wouldn't want them to do that if they worked. There weren't, like, I'm not upset that they didn't block the field goal, but yeah, I wish they had. I mean, it would have been great if they did, but I mean, that can't be the expectation. Like, the expectation should be to make it as difficult as possible for the kicker, and they could have done more with, namely calling the timeout. Let's see. Let's see. Hard Take says we don't throw it downfield much at all. I mean, this game, I mean, I don't blame them for not taking like a bunch of shots when Georgia Tech is dropping guys in coverage. But that's the thing, like it's a chess match, and you're supposed to like, defenses can't cover everything. So when Georgia Tech is clearly intent on making sure that there are no big plays over the top, and they'd rather have lighter boxes. You have to run the football, and you have to continue to run the football. And that's what Clemson did on their final drive, but it took them too long to figure that out. And that's the thing. Why does it take the first half of getting bludgeoned and just turning the ball over and not being able to find open guys because there's a million dudes in coverage, when you should be able to run the football you should be able to make teams pay for giving you 5-man boxes every single time. The numbers that you have, that it's a simple numbers game. You have a hat on a hat, and especially if you add tight ends, you have more blockers than they do. So than they do guys in the box. So like football is like it's not an easy game, but it's simple. And this team, for some reason, doesn't know how to play to the numbers, and they're scared to. And that's what I don't. And when we watch every other team play Clemson's defense, they do that. LSU did that constantly throughout the game when they had the numbers advantage. Whether it was a quick now screen, or they check into a run play, or and obviously you do things to dress it up, but at the same time, like, it's still the base concepts are the base concepts, and the numbers game is still the numbers game. And for whatever reason, this team just cannot do it. So you've handcuffed yourself twofold because you cannot run the football, and now you can't pass the football. Like, it doesn't make logical sense. It doesn't make any football sense why this team doesn't run the football better than they do, other than the fact that their players are flat out getting whooped. Like, you shouldn't be able to stop the run as well as Georgia Tech was with a 5-man box. You just shouldn't. And again, the final drive showed that showed what Clemson should have been doing all along. The final drive for Clemson, at least. All right, I'm going to do a couple more, and then we're going to call it a show. We've exhausted. Like, again, like I can only talk about the ins and outs of this game in particular so much, because I mean it really is just reiterating and beating a dead horse in terms of what we've already talked about this team and what they're not doing well, and it's a lot. So. Let's see. Paul Sanders says they ran the ball fine today. Yeah, I mean, in the second half, Took them long enough. I mean, like that's my thing. Like they ran the ball fine against Troy last week when they ran the football in the second half. Like so, like they showed that they can do it, but they won't. I don't like they don't like I said they don't play the numbers game until like they're forced to. It makes no sense. They did this better last season. I like what changed about this offense? Like Phil Maffa being gone really has you that scared to just run the ball when you have when you have a 5-man box. Sometimes they had a 4-man box. Like they just had the defensive line. Like that's what they like. Like no defensive coordinator should ever get away with doing that against a team that supposedly has as much talent as Clemson does. You should never get away with that. That should be a run play every time. And in the second half, that's what they did. Sometimes they went out and empty, and then they motioned Randall back in the backfield, or they did a quick or they did a sweep. Like those were the things, and then or it was a quarterback power or counter. Like I was like, where has this been? Like why didn't they do that in the first half? This is how teams have been. This is how Troy played you. Like LSU, I mean, it was different. They showed like they sent a lot of pressure and they overwhelmed you, and you should have hit more plays in the passing game. But today, it should have been like especially after the first couple of drives, it should have been like, okay, it's clear how they're going to play us today. We're gonna pound the rock. Like it should have been that simple. Clemson alumni says y'all need to do a film review, and that's something that me and TPC have talked about. That might be something we do as like a thing for channel members. But who knows? We could do a debut of it that's public to everybody. But yeah, that's something that I've considered doing. Just haven't getting time during the week. And I hate looking at film through the TV copy. That's the thing. Like if I can get all 22 footage, which is sometimes you got to know people, and it's hard to get. I would certainly consider doing it. But yeah, I hate doing film review from the TV copy because it's again there are things you miss there are things you talk about during the game that like. This guy missed this gap, or this guy was open, and sometimes they actually weren't. That you're able to see on all 22 footage that you can't see. So like, I don't think to do a fair film review, I would definitely need like all 22 footage. But if you know somebody, hit me up because that's what I mean. That's kind of would be the goal. Let's see. American Patriots, South Carolina says 3 games in, all 3 teams that have played us have played aggressively, yet we are still playing passively both sides of the ball. How many deep shots, trick plays did we call? I mean, they dialed up trick. They didn't dial up any trick plays, but they dialed up some shots. And a couple of them, Cade airmailed them. The one to Cole Turner up the seam, like I don't know where he was throwing it, and then the miscommunication with TJ Moore, he sat down on third down instead of carrying up the seam. I don't know honestly if that was just it was a quarterback and wide receiver not on the same page there. I mean, I understand why TJ sat, but. But I understand Cade wanting to get the big play because it was there. So I don't know. That's something in film review. They would have to look at, but they definitely need to be on the same page there. William Watson can't compete when your coach won just to the new era of NIL. Other teams are built like an NFL roster, and Dabo continues his college ways. I mean, like, what about this team? Like what additions would Clemson have made that would have changed the outcome? I mean, yeah, I guess you could have gone and gotten more offensive linemen, but I mean, at the same time, like we saw these same offensive linemen play a thousand times better last season. I mean, I don't know, like in terms of like the portal wise, I mean, in NIL wise, I mean, this roster is being compensated very well. Like, and they staved off multiple teams for multiple of their key guys. Like this is a really expensive roster. I mean, and you're not getting the return on investment, that's for sure. But like, I mean, like I think Dabo's adjustment to the portal and NIL era it's been slow, but like that's not my biggest concern in terms of what we've seen. Like I just like what portal additions, yeah, would have changed the outcome for this team. I don't know. You might be right. Like maybe like things just like Dabo just needs to force some guys out. That's something and I know that's something he'll never do. But or let some guys walk. I don't know, and go and aggressively try and get top portal guys. I don't know. I don't ever see Dabo doing that. Taking that route. I mean, the reality is this team should be a lot better than they are. Like I don't know. It just you shouldn't have needed to go to the portal. At least, I mean, the guys you did get, happy that you added them because they've. I mean, I certainly think Will Helt has been a net positive for this defensive line, and I think Jeremiah Alexander is a net positive for this linebacker room, but he doesn't get enough snaps. I mean, every time he gets in, he makes a tackle, he makes a run stop. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. They rave about how hard he works and how good he is, but then he doesn't play enough. I don't know. I get they like Wade Woodaz and Sammy Brown, and I understand why, but you can rotate, you can get him in. Um, I guess they just don't know what it feels like. They don't know what to do with him, or at least how often to give him opportunities. But every time he's in the game, I mean, he looks good. So, and I think Tristan Smith could be a positive for this wide receiver room. We don't know because he doesn't play at all. So, um, you know, like you brought in the portal guys you did, and you felt so good about the guys in that room that clearly that you're not playing them other than will help. So I don't know that it tells me that this roster should be a lot better than it is, and I know that and this team should be a lot better than it is, and it's a failure on Dabo. And this coaching staff. I mean, it's a massive failure. Let's see. All right. I'm going to take one more. Cedric Green says TJ Parker just there to get paid. I don't. I couldn't disagree with you. Certainly, when you're not getting. I mean, when considering what you're paying him, he's been pretty non-existent so far. I mean, and listen, I get some of it is teams are getting the ball out quick, but other times when the few times Georgia Tech did get a pass rush, like I didn't see him get home a whole ton. Like I think he nearly got a sack on a TE stunt, but that was about it. Like that's about it. Braden Store says, "How does our tight end have a massive conversion on third down, and we rarely target them?" Your guess is as good as mine. I really don't know. JT Brown, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, "Can't get coaches from the portal, bro." I mean, that's true. And I mean, you can, like you've tried, you've changed, you've made staff changes. You're still not getting the results you need, and it's. But I also don't think it's really a player problem, and not in games like this. Like it certainly shouldn't be a player problem. So I mean, it's like I don't know what I don't. I mean, I don't know what you do because at this point, nothing you're doing is working. Yeah, John mentions our commitment. Drake Quinn is at the Tennessee game. Yes, yes, he is. Uh, so you know Dabo's policy on that. 4-star defensive end Drake Quinn, Buford High School. Yeah, not great. It's not been a good week overall for Clemson University. That's for sure. It's been this football team is the hits keep coming. That don't have much comment on Drake Quinn beyond that right now. Jordan, I'm gonna end us off with a comment from Jordan. Great name, great initials. A few years ago, it was obvious after the UGA game that DJ was seeing ghosts. Do you think that after the LSU game, Kate is seeing ghosts at time? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, he's missed open guys. It's plain and simple. I mean, it's not like every concept that Clemson's running is just perfectly covered by the defense. Like if it was like that's just not what shows up on tape at all. I mean, he's just flat out not making those plays. I mean, I think he was a little bit better. I mean, of course, he was better in the second half, but it's still not the Heisman candidate, former 5-star K. Klubnik that we thought we were getting. The regression is it's hard to quantify. It's hard really to make sense of right now. Like he's just like plays that he made last year, he's not making. I mean, is the competition that much better? Like I don't think so. I mean, Troy certainly wasn't better than most of the teams you played last year. I mean, yeah. So like I don't know. You guys can hear the confusion, the exasperation, the frustration in my voice because it just like we can point to all these things, but at the end of the day, it's like it's not clear where the disconnect is, and that's the most frustrating. Like if it was something concrete that we were like, that's it, that's the reason why this team isn't good. Like then we could be like, all right, now what do we need to do to fix it? But all of it isn't good. Like there's like there's something deeper, like a deep disconnect that's permeating throughout the entirety of the roster and the coaching staff. And for some reason on the practice field, they're getting different results because everything that I had heard from about this team during spring and especially during fall camp was like it was nothing but positive. And so obviously that means I can't necessarily trust what comes out of camp anymore. But at the same time, it's clear that the coaches were seeing a different team at practice than what they've gotten on the field. So like, why is there a disconnect between practice and what we see on the field, and why is it so stark of a difference? Like, why is it so like drastically different from what they've seen? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm going to leave it at that. It's philosophical. We could have a huge philosophical question about, the deeper problems that this team has, and obviously this program has. But at the end of the day, your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. But thank you guys for joining us. Great show. I mean, I am always flattered by how many people tune into our show each week. Those of you that are new, consider following me and Tiger Paw Craven and subscribing to the channel. Of course, we go live every Tuesday for the All In Show. We'll have more to talk about with this game. We'll have more thoughts. And we hope you're willing to join us if you like Clemson content. And even if you're just an outside fan or a third-party fan of a different team, like we like having you guys here too, and we have regulars from other fan bases. So consider subscribing, giving us a like, because it does help the channel out. Thank you to everybody that super chatted. Thank you to John for becoming a new channel member. Big John, thank you for your super chat. JT, thank you for supporting the channel with your 2 super chats. It's greatly appreciated. You don't have to do it, but you guys do it anyway. And we are always very thankful for that. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. And for my co-host, Tiger Paw Craven, I am Jordan Bowman. And we will see you guys on Tuesday for the All In Show. Go Tigers.